Welcome back to Dum-Dums and Dragons, where improvisers who've never roleplayed before journey into the world of Dungeons and Dragons. I am the Grand Wizard Bukake, your host. The feast has been completed and our characters are on their way. Quinny tanked his performance of tequila. Butthole gave a touching speech and his second performance of tequila was much stronger. And Juniper let Grandpa Warwick take the stage and he got confused, along with the crowd. Having distracted their friends enough to get away, will our heroes survive their suicide mission? Find out next on Dum-Dums and Dragons.
The Dum-Dums are back on the road, having had a brief respite over the past few weeks at the Fortress of Forlorn Hope, and of course the Feast of St. Mudbutt that you've just left. You all had a chance to recharge, relax to some extent, but more importantly to plan and to re-equip. The battle with the Fries was harrowing, to say the least. Moving all of Cornucopia / Quintown to the fortress was not an insignificant task. Some of you found out you had family members. You know, lots of wacky stuff has occurred. But with the information that Doc Huckleberry managed to find as he was tracking all of you, that he passed along to Reginald, the Reginald passed along to all of you, you found a way into a Ka. Through an old mine system that, Butthole, you were unfamiliar with, but that Reginald vaguely remembers from his time as being a dead site, a site that was strip mined to, absolutely nothing and then stoppered up because it was a clear hazard. But in your time, things have gone differently. And from the sounds of things, the mine is very much not in the state that he expected to hear about it from the survivors who had made their camp there. So, having successfully pulled off the ruse that you're at a party all night with fun karaoke times, you're now making your way towards that site. You have it's a few days of travel ahead of you. I'm not going to make you roll for what happens in the night. Do zombies approach? Because I think at this point, if you're a small group and you've all had to travel around outside of the walls of the fortress enough that I don't think this would pose too much of a problem for our level 14 adventurers, not specifically going into zombie-infested places and going, hey, zombies, it me, come get me. So you have, we're going to say with some magical assistance here and there, it's going to take about 3 days of travel to find your way to this site. When I say magical travel, amongst the potions that you found in the Necromancer's workshop are some potions of almost like what Bucky has dubbed blurred speed, that basically give you, for lack of better term, Edward Cullen speed or True Blood vampire speed, where you get to do that thing where, low budget TV can get away with making you seem fat. So you're not at
Keep up with us now, Ginny.
Harsh but fair words from Laura. So it lets you move very, very swiftly. You're not like the Flash or Quicksilver where everything is slowed to an absurd rate for you, just that you're able to cover a hell of a lot more distance during the day. In Juniper, I think in your case, this literally means you hitch the battle chair to two, probably Butthole and Reginald. They drink the potions and then they fucking run and basically chariot them with, I imagine, using your arm strength to kind of crank the wheel as well to make sure that you're going. But just making sure that, all of your speeds are roughly equivalent, given that you have to deal with all terrain in a way that other folks don't.
And they get an aura of warding and an aura of courage. And an aura of protection the entire time.
Oh, some good auras. Honestly, Reginald might never stop. He might just hang around you.
He literally can't be frightened while unconscious. While he's near me.
Does he just cease to be that?
His core personality.
Yeah. Held together with duct tape and fear. I don't know how he's gonna.
I think it is that he can't have the condition of frightened, not necessarily.
Gotcha.
Well, here's the thing.
Intrinsic internal fears.
He's not aware that he won't be afraid of things that come at him. He fully expects to be terrified. It doesn't solve his anxiety disorder. It's not called cure for mental health aura. Like, he's still who he is.
Yeah. Great. So together, all of you sort of make good time, because obviously, like, Aka isn't next door, but with the sort of fleet, the swiftness that you've managed from these potions and the distance you got, also the fact that you're able to kind of cut through a bit of the Icewind Dale mountain ranges, just gets you a little bit closer. You know, being in a fortress up a mountain in the middle of a mountain range means you can kind of cut across the mountains in a way that no one in their right mind would. But if you're already up there, why the fuck not? So you're making very good time. But I really cannot stress enough that Aka is not next door. It's not a 3-day three-day
magic.
walk.
There's teleporting. We hear you. Don't worry.
Yeah. So you're covering a fairly vast amount of space, which means that conversation while going at hyperspeed is not that possible. But again, you're traveling a vast distance. And the catch with these potions is they similar to chugging a Red Bull, like, you feel great when you're doing either the running or when, you know, your arms are burning from spinning the wheels on the chair.
Yeah.
Like, you feel fantastic during that time. But the minute this shit runs out, it's like lights out. You just fall over and need to rest as quickly as possible. So the mornings are always a little bit of the groggy day after an overly intense, like, you know, like moving or something like that, where you're just like, you've overextended your body in a way you normally don't. You know, coffee is made over the fire. Doc Huckleberry is fucking good at coffee because it's like a cowboy cosplay thing he can do. So he makes sure there's always like a little tin pot coffee thing situation going on every morning. And, you know, you have breakfast, and it really does take some time to shake the cobwebs off before you can go again. So I know, Laura, you'd mentioned that Juniper would want to talk to Butthole about
the problem of the Horde.
Skewed political views of Reginald. And yes, how do you solve a problem like Horderia? So I know you want to have that chat, but you're also welcome to have any other chats you would like of that sort. And it's not like you all have to be standing around each other at all times. Like, Juniper, if you wanted to, like, speak privately with Butthole, you could do that, because it's like camping with friends, right? Every morning, everyone's got their little routine. Reginald is presumably taking down his, like, paranoid murder tent. You know, everyone's got their thing to do.
Also, Juniper doesn't need to have this conversation in the presence of Reginald, who's just going to, like, interject with stuff. Like, she's got his information. It's fine.
Well,
Reginald
look, but then what's the player who plays Reginald going to do, Laura, if he can't have an active conversation with the player who plays Butthole? I want to leave someone out.
Why would you separate brothers? Reginald stays in what looks like a really tiny, shitty tent. It's actually the glamping tent that he got from not Peter Baelish. So he has, like, a lavish fucking mansion that he is sharing with no one. It is just his tent. He keeps complaining about how he has to share the tiny space with Doc Huckleberry.
Yeah, no wonder Doc Huckleberry is able to make coffee. There's, like, bags of coffee in the glamping tent.
Yeah. It always seems like Doc Huckleberry is, like, finding things, but it's really just that they're all in Reginald's fucking tent, because he also stocked it for the journey.
He fills the tin pot with Nespresso and then just takes it out and puts it on the fire, and it's like, it'll take a minute to heat up.
Yeah, you can't tell anybody until a minute's passed. One crunchy question that I have, Tom, that I want to ask now before it seems like we're cheating later. We have an upgraded potion room in the Fortress of Forlorn Hope that we could use to take potions with us. I was wondering if we had any healing potions or anything we would have stocked for this journey.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm sorry. We should have done that before we left.
I just thought of it now, so don't worry about it.
Cool. So you're traveling purposefully light in order to make these potions kind of run. And you had to bring each of you had to bring like 3 of these sort of speed potions with you. So I think we can safely say that each of you can choose one improved potion to bring along for the ride. All right, us of immediately right this moment definitely didn't take a break to figure out what our potions were because we all already knew. What potions have you all already chosen, obviously, from your vast knowledge of potions in D&D?
Quinny, I believe it was Quinny, got the potion of soft step, 4 of them, one for each person. So he would distribute those as well at some point.
Nice.
Probably when helmets were being handed out, he would also give out these potions. I forgot to mention
So we all
that.
flash back to those potions being handed out.
And I'm giving it to you for no stress. You also all
thanks,
have your traditional 5 stress. We haven't used stress in a really long time because you all just plan ahead these days, but 5 stress.
Do I get 5 stress per character, Tom?
Oh my god.
Sure you do, but you're only going to be playing Butthole, so go fuck yourself.
Nuts.
I guess the answer. Hey, Goblin Junior gets 5 stress too. It's great.
Wow.
15 stress.
I mean, you'll use those for him, so yeah, keep track of that. You play Goblin Junior.
Flashing back to Burt Reynolds scenes. It's going to be the whole thing.
God. For the potion that I definitely always knew I had brought with me and didn't take a break to look up, I'm going to get a potion of superior healing.
Cool.
Just an insurance policy for me.
Smart.
If the healers goes down, I can administer it to him. If someone else is just not near Butthole, if we get split up, I can administer to them as needed. Just a little insurance policy.
Reginald's got an ouchie and he won't shut up about it. You can administer it to him.
Well, no, I'll probably put the quiet potion on him if he's whining about it.
Again, harsh but fair seems to be the tone of the day. Cool. Right. How about the rest of you?
Butthole also took a superior healing potion. He usually likes to have a potion on him, so if he gets downed and is still needed in a fight, somebody else can bring him back. So it's one of those, it's like an EpiPen. Everybody in his party knows where he keeps the potion on him, and it's somewhere accessible.
I kind of like to imagine that if they can't pour it down your mouth, they just like break it on you like they're christening a ship.
That's way nicer than pouring it into his buttholes, I thought you were going to say. So, we're all having a journey.
Butt chugging a health potion. It's more potent that way.
Yeah, you get plus 2 D4
you get healed
if
faster.
it goes in your butt.
That's what I hear.
Gygax was very explicit about that in the first edition. They changed it for advanced, but we know the truth.
I put the potion in my butt. Give me your character sheet. And then he hands it back and you have full health.
Yeah, that's the original Tomb of Horrors, actually.
Adds a little note. I'm so proud of you. That's all it says.
Reginald, however, has taken a potion of invulnerability, so he'll have resistance to all damage for 1 minute when he drinks it.
Yeah, that sounds appropriate.
Yep, very self-focused.
All right, and Sheriff Juniper.
Sheriff Juniper is taking a potion of Frost Giant Strength, which will increase her strength to a score of 23, or +6 for an hour.
That's awesome.
And she will also take the opportunity to remind everyone that they should stay within 10 feet of her when possible. Because she has an aura of protection, which means...
I'll do what I can, but I'm generally forward scout in these scenarios.
I get it. I'm just saying, when you're within 10 feet of her, you get an aura of protection, an aura of warding, and an aura of courage. They're all good things. If
we made the potion at home, it could be a potion of the strength of the fantastic fondue.
Yeah, I like that.
Oh, I love that. Okay.
Call it mountain fondue.
She really likes that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mountain fondue.
You gotta do the do.
Oh, do the do. That's what you have to say when you drink it or it doesn't activate.
God.
You have to say do
What
the
is
do.
this potion of strength of what?
Strength of fondue.
Yeah.
Strength of fondue. I love that.
Fantastical fondue.
That's beautiful. That's gonna, definitely.
In my head, it is just a Mountain Dew bottle. So it's got but it's a Mountain Dew bottle from when they have a tie-in to a video game or a movie. So instead of The Rock as Black Adam or Master Chief, it's just the fantastical fondue.
Yeah.
Just in all of his glory, holding up his hands, giving you a thumbs
the Mountain
up.
Dew's white. It just says Mountain Dew Ice.
Yeah.
You get more experience points.
This is just carbonated water. Shh. Mountain Dew Ice.
With enough caffeine to kill Laura. Anyways.
Mountain don't.
Yeah. Mountain don't do that. Okay, great. So
Sweet.
You've got your potions. Fantastic. So beyond jumping back into the past and equipping ourselves with gear that we should have thought of before we left, because your DM forgot to remind you that you have a magical potion lab. Is there anything that you think you all would be discussing on the way other than, again, Juniper, you've got kind of first position on this because you've already flagged your chat, but any of the rest of you, is there anything you would want to be discussing with your comrades?
Yeah, I think Quinny would want to be talking to Reginald about, once again, what to expect. I know we've gotten kind of like the rundown here, but I think we just want more information or just to talk to him about it again, just in case anything was missed or anything like that.
Cool.
I think Butthole's kind of good. Like, this mission seems relatively clear to him, and Reginald is also focused on the mission, so Butthole's happy to talk to Juniper / Sheriff Moss, and Reginald's happy to talk to Quinny.
Cool. And because it has been a hot second, the details that Reginald gave were, I believe, more about a Ka than the mine. Is that correct?
Correct.
Yes.
He had some. He knows of the mine, but not
Yep.
tremendous specifics of the mine. He knows its history.
Yeah. Great. Okay. So, and Quinny, you're asking him about the mine or about a Ka?
The mine.
The mine? Okay. So, Ryan, can you roll me I think we're going to go with a history check.
Well, I mean, Quinny, what do you want to know about the mine? That's the real question. I know a lot of things about a lot of things, and a little bit about other things, and nothing about some things.
Yeah, I mean, that's how... Yeah, that's how knowledge works, so that makes sense. Really just... even if it's not mission pertinent, like, just what do you know in terms of, like, rumors or what people say about this mine and stuff like that? Like, from where and when you're from, this place had been just
Well, we mined it down
mined
to nothing,
depletion.
stripped it down, killed all the monsters, kept mining, stripped it to zero, and then
Any talk of, like, what kind of monsters or anything like that?
bad, scary, super murdery. I rolled a 12, Tom.
12? Yeah, so Reginald, despite your best efforts, I think because all the monsters were killed and you come from kind of a more hellish dimension where the black spider, kind of like reigns triumphant. If a monster is dead and hunted to extinction, you don't care about it because there are plenty of like active monsters running around. So all you know is that there was a monstrous presence in the mines. It was stamped out rather efficiently. The mines fell completely under control of a Ka, and then provided adamantine ore to the Black Spider's horde. And ultimately, a lot of it went into like equipping your troops. So the Aka troops who joined with the horde. Later, once the Black Spider rose to ascendance, a lot of it went to the Wave Echo Cavern to be used in the Spell Forge to forge better weapons. But by that point, there wasn't a whole hell of a lot left because already so much of it had been turned to weapons.
All right, so what I know about the monsters is they were very bad. There could have been one or several. They mobilized the army to stop them, either because there were a lot of them that needed to be killed, or it was tricky to hunt them down, not sure. And then they wiped them out, and then it became very profitable for the murder army.
So it took an army then, huh?
Yes, but a lot of things take an army if you want them done fast. It could mean that it's an overpowering strength that'll absolutely kill all of us, which I'm really hoping isn't true, or... I don't know, it could have been like one little goblin who was just real stabby and they couldn't find him in the dark. I don't know, I wasn't alive. But it was apparently very dangerous or not that dangerous. People lie.
I see. And what was it they were mining for? Just
Adamantine.
Iron? Adamantine, right. Yeah, the adamantine mine. Right,
Yep. They have to turn that in to make armor and then to go to the Wave Echo Cavern where they made super spelly stuff. And then we sort of ran out, and that's one of the reasons why we had to keep conquering everyone.
And Tom, I'm not familiar with the mineral adamantine, am I?
You would be actually, I think, Quinny, because, or rather, I think Quinny would be just because as a thief, rare minerals and rare metals you'd be aware of in terms of like what to steal and not. Adamantine is a rare material in D&D universe. It's an extremely hard black metal. When it's been finished, it reflects a clear green sheen under candlelight and purple white under magical light. But it is beloved of armorers and weapon makers. You can honestly, like, the easiest sort of film example of this is it falls kind of in the adamantium or vibranium zone. If we're talking like Marvel films, of once it has been forged and cooled, it can't be deformed or bent by mundane means. So they don't dull. Weapons that are made with it don't dull or chip. They're just like really, really fucking hardy. So it's not so rare that you've never heard of it, but it's definitely not in like Game of Thrones terms. It's probably a slightly more common dragon glass. So like it's around, but you don't see it all the time, if that makes any sense. Beyond that, I don't know. There's obviously more details about it, but I don't know that you would know much more than that.
Let me ask you this, and you can tell me whether I would know it or not. Am I aware of what the general response or sort of counter to an army equipped with adamantine weapons would be? Is there
fight better?
Fight better? Okay.
Like they make for damn good weapons that don't chip and that can't be kind of bent or broken. That said, much like heavy plate mail, like there's just by necessity of you can't build a solid chunk of armor, then? There will always be joints and seams and other things. And it's rare enough that like you might see a battlefield commander decked out in full adamantine armor, but it would cost so much.
Okay.
That
I'm thinking actually of local fauna that might be subsisting off of natural adamantine ore or anything like that. So I'm just trying to think. Does that mean that it would be like, is it a heavy metal, or is it like light and ultra durable and just super fucking badass? And
it weighs the same. It weighs the same as steel.
Okay.
So it is not a lightweight material.
Okay. Cool.
Which again, I think you would know from possibly even handling the stuff that had been made with adamantine, but I don't think you would know much beyond that.
Okay.
Anything else I can tell you?
No, I guess not. Not if you don't have any firsthand experience, just makes sense.
Yeah, the only other piece, of course, is that the mine was sealed off in Reginald's time, and I think it would be safe to say probably flooded or something. Like once it was done, it was just like, fuck off out of here. We don't want a back door.
Oh yeah, we sealed it and collapsed it and shit, but that's not really going to affect this because
that shouldn't apply here, right?
Yeah, these idiots didn't, and that's why they'd make a terrible horde and they're going to die.
Well, cheers to that, I guess.
All right, and Juniper, as Reginald and Quinny are having their conversation, you see a perfect chance to kind of get Butthole alone to speak to him about how you want to try and solve for Aka.
So Butthole, I don't know if you've thought of what's going to happen, once we achieve our goal of retaking Aka.
Mm-hmm.
But I had a chat with Reginald. It seems like the population is really used to a horde-based mentality.
Well, I don't know if that's true. I mean, Reginald lives in a world where everything is a horde all the time. Now, these people aren't from horde world, so Reginald's opinion of what people are capable of is also, shall we say, nihilistic to bleak to torturous.
Right.
But keep rolling. I feel like you're building up to something. I want to know what it is.
Well, I'm just a little bit concerned that, once... I mean, what do you have in mind once we kind of dispose of those in charge and, set up? Because, I mean, I mean, these people have been, horribly abused by their rulers for a long time, and we want to make sure we have their support and don't just step in and get, assassinated right away, as is a risk, I believe.
Well, a lot of people talk about assassination, but look at how far I've got not getting assassinated. Like, here's the thing. You got to show up and be nice.
That's a little bit of survivor bias, isn't it?
What's that?
Well, I mean, the only people around to say they've never been assassinated are the people who've never been assassinated. So it's like, of course, by definition, you're here because you haven't been assassinated, so...
Yep, so I'm going to keep not getting assassinated because I'm pretty good at it so far.
But everyone who's alive is pretty good at it so far until then.
I don't know. There's probably some people who are going to get assassinated like right now and don't see it coming, so they're going to have a rough time.
I guess that's beyond the point. Let's say worst case scenario is that a Ka is like it is from Reginald's world.
Okay, so a Ka's a horde.
Yes. Let's just assume, because if it's not, then we don't have to worry as much.
All right. Well,
but I think we do need to make sure we're rallying kind of support from the ground and make sure that the average person is going to feel okay that we're coming in and taking over and is in support of this and know that we've got their back and we do want kind of the best for everyone.
Yeah, see, I think we've got kind of different concerns here because when I look at a Ka, things are really shitty for the average person right now. In fact, They're terrible. So I don't think we really have to worry about an uprising from the average people against leadership that's showing up, changing things over, and trying to make it better, because when the leadership was fucking terrible, they didn't do an uprising. I'm far more concerned about, shall we say, upper-level management. That's who's going to be a problem.
Okay,
the generals, the nobility, and that kind of thing. So what I'm thinking is, amongst my many cool new god powers, side note, you should pray to me, and we can sort this out later. You can find religion in an appropriate way. But I can take a space that I'm in and know whether or not people in it are telling the truth. So I'm thinking what we do is we get the nobility in, I cast the spell, they come in, we ask them questions so they can tell us whether or not they're going to betray us, so we just know definitively, and we can find out whether or not they're assholes, and then we deal with the assholes, and people who are here to do the right thing or legitimately were being pressured into things and want to redeem themselves will know that that's true, and then we can let them keep working with us.
So, okay.
You still seem troubled. What's troubling?
Well, I just, when there's a change of power, that's kind of when, I think we're probably most vulnerable to attack.
Oh, see, because I think we're the most vulnerable when we're sneaking into a Ka and they're still in power.
I think we're most vulnerable from the
now.
Current regime.
Yes,
right now.
Which I would argue we're in way more danger from the current regime than we ever will be trying to take charge.
I hope so. I hope you're right.
See, it feels like you're being really negative right now. Where's this coming from?
Who's this coming from?
I just want to be sure that we don't do all this the wrong way.
Well, what do you think the wrong way is?
Is to get in there and have people mistrust us and revolution starting and take us out before we even get a chance to show what we're about.
So your worst case scenario is we overthrow the regime and then we all get murdered by the people.
Correct.
See, because I see a lot of other worst case scenarios that I would argue are actually worse, which is like, we don't do this, we go home and all get eaten by zombies. We give up and die. We go forwards and we don't even successfully overthrow the regime and they just turn out to try to prove they're right and kill everyone. We betray our friends and join them. There are a lot of worse things than maybe we don't do a great job.
I agree. I just wanted us to be posed, aligned for the best possible outcome.
So how do we align ourselves for the best possible outcome?
Spread the word.
Well, see, this is a stealth assault, so we don't want to go telling the populace that we're coming because we literally just didn't tell the people we trust most in the world that we're coming.
So this is just going to be messy no matter what.
I mean, yeah. Like, okay, here. Butthole is a person, yes. Butthole is a king. Everything's messy. Everything is going to involve change. We've sent out word. We've been battling a cough for a while. People there are going to know me. There are things that we can move forward with. But I think the person you need to talk to is the butt hammer. And he just sits up a little straighter and fixes his armor. And he just says, right now it sounds like you're looking for a guaranteed path where everything goes the way you want it to and everyone agrees. And if you're not sure that it's going to happen, then you're kind of worried and pumping the brakes and not really ready to commit to causing change. Do you think that's a fair description?
Honestly, Dr. Martha should talk to you and learn from you because, yes, that's exactly what I'm feeling.
I feel like you've had a lot of bad things happen to you. And I've been nearby for a good chunk of them. And you lost a lot of people. And that sucks. I don't really have a fancier way to describe that. That just absolutely sucks. And you want to go find those people and you want to do the right thing. So I would say fear of failure is probably a pretty logical concern for you. Does that feel accurate?
Yeah, and that failure leading to people getting hurt.
Yep, that makes sense. So
Good people, to be clear. Bad people, they can fuck right off.
Yeah, that's true. Okay. So you've got like a sword fighting Juniper in you, correct?
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So when you think of sword fighting in a duel or a fight or anywhere else, when you hesitate, what happens?
Oh, the hesitation is death.
So right now, we're on a quest to try to defeat something evil and build something better for the world, and the odds are absolutely stacked against us. So if this was a duel, we're fighting like the Forsaken combined with the guy who's now being the Forsaken combined with, I guess, Bucarius combined with like Xanthus. We got like a master duelist that we're going up against here, and all the odds are stacked against us. We're fighting with like a spoon that we sharpened or something. We got a good plan, and they're not paying a whole hell of a lot of attention, but we got one shot. And right now, you're worried about what happens if we win this duel. Could other people in the room be mad?
It's an interesting way to put it, I suppose.
Because if we can't win this and make the world, I would argue the world would be a better place just by killing this fucking Grayson Typhus asshole and saving my completely innocent, very kind mother who will help us.
Juniper kind of winces at that, but doesn't say anything.
So we have to win this fight before we worry about the next one.
Right.
And the key to that, and I know it sounds like I'm kind of harping on a theme here, but hope. We have to believe that we can do it. And then faith. We have to believe that things can get better. Because if they can't get better, there's no point in fighting at all. And then there's determination, the reason that you're doing this. And what I can tell you, Sheriff Moss, is if we can turn this kingdom around and we can save the day here, we can use all of the wealth and the political power of Akar and all of our other friends to start finding the people you lost. This isn't the end of a journey. This is a first step on the journey you really, really care about. But you have to have faith that you can get to those final steps. Hesitating is death, but striking can save a life. Are you ready
you're right.
to save a life?
You're right. You're right. Of course you're right.
And I'm sure you knew some like kind of criminal assholes in your days as a sheriff. But
Oh,
yes, see, perfect. But when you look at them, how many of them could have been a good person if you gave them the chance to make a change and the support to allow them to do so?
realistically, like 90% of them.
Well, if we've got a country and we look at all the generals and nobility, and there are, I don't know, 1,000 of them, and we say 10% are assholes, we've only got to kill like 100 people after we take over. I don't want to sound like a psychopath, but I've killed way more than 100 people. Plus, there's Quinny, and that guy can kill like anybody. He'll kill them while they're asleep or whatever. He's really good at that shit.
Right.
The question is, do you want this?
I do. Yes. No, you're right. I'm so caught up with doing it right. I haven't really been focusing on getting it done at all.
Mm-hmm. And it sounds like you're right is really just more concerns about what happens after, which we kind of can't control. So here's the crazy thing. You don't have to pray to me. You don't even really have to have faith in a god, but you do need to have faith that this will work. So maybe you want to just like pray to whoever or yourself or just sit there and kind of meditate while feeling hope for a bit every day. I feel like that might be good for you.
Yeah, I guess it's just hard knowing what dying is like and having done it once. That it really makes it clear that it's possible that it'll happen again.
Yeah, well, I mean, the thing is everyone dies, but not everybody gets a second chance to come back. So right now, it's a weird thing to say, but like, you're already dead. That's done. That's free. You don't need to worry about that shit anymore. You're cheating. This is great. You get to ride this train all the way to the end.
Right.
And then what happens after you die? Here's the exciting thing. I legitimately don't fucking know because we made all the gods and everyone in hell angry, so we don't get to go to either. We broke the rules. Something else happens.
Right. And I guess that's kind of exciting, isn't it?
Yeah.
All right. I think I need to spend less time with Reginald.
Yeah, that's kind of a good thing for... If you're not sure of something, he is the wrong person to talk to.
Yeah, thanks, Butthole. Thanks for helping me clear my mind about this.
No problem. Now go do whatever praying is for you for like 10 minutes.
What is...
Okay.
what does Juniper do to... Because, I mean, I feel like we know what pre-merge Juniper would do. Because she was big on, like, you know, connecting to nature and meditating and that sort of piece. But having combined with Sheriff Moss, and as a result of merging with Sheriff Moss, being constantly more attuned to your other... Is personas the right term? I always forget. Yeah.
Yep.
In a way that you weren't previously. I feel like, you know, OG Juniper had very clear delineations, whereas with Moss, being in a state of kind of perma transformation, there's a lot of that you can control more now, but you're just more aware of that. What is your version of what Butthole has suggested?
Because Juniper needs to get into the mindset of, she needs to just kind of get her confidence back a little bit. No one is more confident than Echo.
Based on our experience, yes, this is true.
So to kind of get in that mindset, she will transform into Echo, who's just gonna go around being a little murdery kid. Maybe she'll like check out some like weird deadly flowers and collect them or something like that.
Can you roll me a d6?
Sure. 1.
Cool. So when you say murdery flowers, do you mean that she is specifically looking for poisonous flowers? Or
Nightshade, shit like that.
Okay, can you roll me a nature check?
Sure.
See how Tim Burton-y these mountains are?
14.
14? Fucking, yeah, sure. Wouldn't you know it? Just a patch of deadly nightshade, just like your Sally from Nightmare Before Christmas. You know where it is, you find it. It's beautiful but deadly.
Personas and girls of every age. Would you like to see something strange?
Yeah, that was the one other song that was in the karaoke rotation.
Come with her and you will see. There's nightshade right over here. It's just like walk around a corner. There's a whole nightshade field.
It's just like very clear to Goblin Jr. Like, don't eat this.
And
Not
Goblin
for
Jr.
you.
like looks at you, looks at the nightshade, looks back at you, and you're the scariest thing he's ever seen. So if you're saying not to do something, he's like, snarf, snarf. And he like lifts up a leg and pees on it, and then like not the ones you're picking, but like nearby, just to establish dominance.
I mean, it could probably reach my hand.
Yeah,
She's
look,
very
he's no Mr. Mittens. He's not just peeing all over the place and expecting no one to notice.
Excellent.
He knows urine is sterile. He's trying to save your hands.
Yeah.
Good,
So
no.
he
Oh, no,
he
it's
pees
not.
in nearby, and then
But he knows it
leaves,
is.
leaving you
It's
Echo
his
to
truth.
pluck your nightshade, and then is that just kind of it? You're just having a little murder child.
Just being, it's just spending time in Echo's skin.
Gotcha. Yeah.
And I will say, Sheriff Moss, Juniper, whoever you end up being when you put the helmet back on, when you look inside it, you see Butthole has ordered a customization for you that you had not noticed before this. But the names of all of the missing members of your town have been chiseled into the inside of your helm.
Ooh. This is dark, but I like it.
And she transforms back into Sheriff Juniper and puts it on.
A little high, little low. That's kind of how it runs for the sheriff. Amazing. So with that, the days have kind of passed, having had these conversations, and you arrive.
Sorry, I have to be clear. Juniper thinks that's really sweet. Only Echo thought it was like morbid. just to be clear. Sorry, Tom. Continue.
It's all good. It's all good.
I was really tempted to interrupt you again for comedy purposes, Tom, but please continue.
You realize by saying that you did in fact interrupt me again.
I know, but I couldn't help it. But I wanted to let you get like 3 sentences into your description and then do it. So I did it in the not nice, but nicer
It's
way.
great.
I
I was
couldn't
going to give you a real
had
nice
you
one, but now
know.
you're just getting like the stock standard. Like I just raided the Unity asset store and was like, fucking cliff. I don't know. So you arrive at a fucking cliff. I don't know. Whatever. Don't worry about it. Shut up. You arrive after your 3 days of travel at a small kind of cleft in the earth. And you can see that there's sort of like a deep canyon, not tremendously wide, but wide enough, that runs through this area. You've come down out of the mountains as you make your way towards the entrance to the mines, but it's still kind of rocky terrain. And so this is kind of like, just a little... I don't know if gorge is the right term, but there's a crack in the earth, and you can see that there was a rope bridge across this chasm. That said, you can see the remnants of the bridge on the other side are somewhat burnt and hanging down. On your side, even the posts that it was attached to have been hacked off and tossed over. You can see some. On this side, there's some gear that's been discarded, clearly as people fled in a hurry. And Doc Huckleberry kind of, eyes it from under his hat brim, and he says, "Yeah, this here looks like the spot they were telling me about. They beat a pretty hasty retreat out of here, but they want to make sure nothing followed them, so they, fucked the bridge, as it were." Beyond this, you can see sort of across the chasm. On the other side, there is a sort of almost a mound, like the earth kind of rises up and over, and you can see that carved into the side of it, there is what has been lightly excavated, a large kind of heavy stone arch, and there is a variety of you can see like there's tree branches, so like fir tree branches and other things have been placed over the entrance to this. A bunch of that's been knocked away, clearly by the people fleeing in haste. But it very much looks like this was a spot that was meant to be kind of buried and forgotten. That's been kind of cleared out and reopened. So beyond that, you can see this again, this sort of mound with that in it. Beyond that, there's sort of more trees, and in the distance, you can see the landscape is still hilly, but gradually kind of flattening out. And Butthole, even at this distance, like you can't, see a caw on the horizon or anything. There's too much terrain in the way. But like, it's the familiar edge of territory you're starting to recognize, very much on the limits of what you would consider not even necessarily a caw territory, but just like adjacent territory. But definitely,
yeah. But the weight of it is looming.
Yeah,
even though I can't see it. Yeah,
and also, not that there was really any doubt, but enough that you can tell that Reginald is not wrong. This is something that would connect to it's close enough that it could reasonably connect to a caw, if still at distance. Which makes sense because you just didn't know that there was a mine attached anywhere really, and that would have been an odd thing if it was like, yeah. Well, what do you mean there's a quarry on the edge of town? Oh shit, there's a quarry on the edge of town. Like it's far enough away, but
yeah.
Also close enough. Yeah. So you're faced with this chasm. I do not have a solution to this puzzle. This puzzle is literally, you're all big level characters. You have arrived at a chasm, and I'm just curious to see how the fuck you get over it. So here we are. Looking down into the chasm, you can see the remnants of the bridge and the posts. It's a pretty steep drop down there, and you can see a couple of bodies that are just kind of crawling slightly, but their bodies are clearly shattered. And so they are zombies now, but they are zombies with no bones. It is a no bone day for the zombies. So they're just kind of awkwardly kind of like rolling back and forth and kind of clawing at things. But
how far is the chasm? How wide is it?
It is, we'll say about 50 feet.
Okay.
All right. Well, I think I've got a way to get the crust, but does anybody else got any ideas?
We could climb down, fight our way through a zombie horde as we walk across the bottom, and then climb back up. I really hope that's not your idea, because I hated mine just now.
Yeah, I don't think I could do that one. I could try, but yes, that's not my idea. That idea is
Perfect.
Terrible.
Let's hear
Okay,
it.
so I have the ability to fly for up to an hour at a speed of, one would assume, about 20 feet per second.
It's really funny how all of our characters think in these really specific numbers.
Yes. Well, listen, when you're with the Horde, you need to be able to do the math to make sure you can get the fuck out of the castle you are in, and I have timed myself at every different speed. You want to know how fast I can crawl? Too fucking bad. That's a secret that'll save my life later. All right, so I can fly you across basically one at a time. I don't want to try to do more than that. Who wants to go first?
Yeah, I'm feeling light. Yeah.
Great. You're going to have to hang on because I'm not terribly strong when I do this. So we're all going to do this together, but I don't know. Don't fuck this up is all I can say to you.
I'm going to tie myself to you.
Oh, that is a much better choice. That I won't fuck that up nearly as much. All righty. So let's fucking do this. So he takes his... I got to check another fucking spell. God damn it. I have too many of these goddamn things. Yeah, I think this is definitely for each flight. Butthole is going to cast guidance on Reginald to try to help this achieve its journey. So Reginald can fly 20 feet per second. So he would take Quinny across first.
Crush and snort to do that, or is this
yeah. He's crushed and snorted a gem out of his bag, and then he's good for an hour. So
Awesome.
All right. And does this, Ryan? You've previously described him snorting gems as like changing his physicality somewhat. Does the flight? How's the flight change him?
This one turns him into a full Doug Jones. Like, he just gets tall and very thin and almost vampiric looking, just gaunt and longer limbs. And then he just starts floating in a creepy, unholy combination of like, ooh, spooky Dracula, and like, because you know him and it's full daylight, ooh, what we do in the shadows character. Like, it's just in the middle of the two.
You found a sweet spot in my heart there, buddy.
Yeah. He's also just like, Who wants to go first?
Yeah,
It's
this
Quinny.
reminds me
We
of
already talked about this.
hell.
Sorry.
Yeah, we did this in
Takes a
hell.
lot out of me to
Yeah,
snort
your
my
brain
gin.
stretched too. You know, it's the thoughts take longer to get to the
You're
mouth.
so much shorter now. And you can tie yourself to him. And yeah, Tom, he flies 20 feet per second or
Sure.
per round or whatever the fuck.
So, Quinny, I think we're just gonna call this a dex save, which with you is relatively pointless, but we got to roll it anyway.
Oh, saves, not so much.
All right.
Would he have advantage for being tied to Reginald?
No, and I'll tell you why in a minute.
It's a 28.
That's why.
I'm worried he really needed that
It
advantage.
is comparatively low.
Oh, buddy.
It's only +9.
Yeah, well, plus 10. Yeah.
Jesus fucking Christ.
Double digits, my friend. That is, yeah.
It's the dex modifier and the proficiency bonus. Nothing fancy there.
Yeah. All right. So yes, Reginald, you are able to successfully float Quinny across, and then you return.
Great. Then he will take Doc Huckleberry as the other person who's also like a scout, like just the two scout characters
Sure.
first.
So
Makes
yeah.
sense.
So you get Huckleberry and I think Goblin Jr. over just fine. You're left with Butthole and Juniper.
Who wants to go first? Well, Juniper, do you want to go first? Or...
Yeah, sure, I'll go.
Alrighty, so we'll strap Juniper in.
Yep.
Butthole cast guidance on her, and across they go.
Okay. So I think, Reginald, that flying both Juniper and the chair over is going to be a slightly harder, just strength-wise. It's a bigger lift. So let's go with
He could do them separately if that's easier. Like he could take the chair over
Okay,
and then go
yeah, that's
drop her
fine.
in the
That makes
chair.
sense. Yeah. So we'll take two trips. In that case, Juniper, I just need a strength save from you, please.
Strength save.
Yep.
Plus 1d4 for your guidance.
20 total.
Hell yeah. So goes just fine. And finally, Butthole.
Alrighty, let's see what my boy does. Nat 20.
Nice.
Yeah.
You know, brothers, you got that connection for that thin man flying connection, like all good siblings, I'm told.
The aerodynamics are so similar with their similar bodies.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, so Reginald, you managed to land Butthole safely on the other side. And yeah, this is you've successfully beat my how will the Dum-Dums get across a crack in the ground puzzle. Good work.
The answer is one of them can fly.
Yep. Good. So with that,
That's great because I had nothing.
yeah, that's why I was curious. I was like, I don't know, they'll figure something out. So having made your way over, you the four of you approach the opening to the mines, and up close you can definitely tell like this thing was sealed. It's not a doorway. It may have been a doorway at some point, but it was sealed, and it is thick. Like the stone that was used here is about a foot thick. And this place was clearly meant not to be disturbed, which for Reginald particularly is always a bad fucking sign. But as is always the way in Faerun, dumb or otherwise, someone disturbed it, and whatever it is in there is awake and pretty fucking mad. Let's go meet it.
This episode of Dum-Dums and Dragons features the voices of Ryan LaPlante at the Ryan LaPlante on Twitter, Tyler Hewitt at Tyler_Hewitt on Twitter, Laura Hamstra at EL Hamstring on Twitter, and our DM Tom McGee at McGeeTD on Twitter. This episode's sound was edited and mixed by Laura Hamstra, and Dum-Dums and Dragons artwork is by Del Borovic, who can be found at delborovic.com. Our theme songs are And Now for That Massive Coronary and Skipping Through the Orchestra Pit Part 1 by Peter Gresser, and our ad music is No Control and Chiefs by Jazzar, JAHZZAR, all available at freemusicarchive.org. When it comes to Dum-Dums and Dice, you can visit our website at dumdumdice.com. Our Twitter and Instagram are at dumdumdice, and on Facebook at facebook.com/dumdumdice. But most importantly, we've got merchandise at redbubble.com/people/dumdumdice, or you can join our Patreon at patreon.com/dumdumdice. That's DUMB DICE, and tune in next week for more Dum-Dums and Dragons. Dum-Dums and Dice has to give a special thank you to the supreme beings of our Patreon at this time. The Half-Blind Prophet, Christopher Little, Sue One, George Dolby, Richard Cranium, Gavin and Abby McDonald, Logan, Fire Unfriendly, Grandma Likes D&D, Alan, Stabby Stranger, Glitch Trick, Roman Brown, Spot Allen, Flynn1138, Alarain Okapi, OMG It's Big Nick, D&D and Things, Norma Byers, Schrodinger's Pepper, Guy Edwards, Flea Unit, Madre de Gatos, Lady Maiden, Melissa Rain, and Jill and Noel LaPlante. If you want your name to be added to this list, you can join our Patreon too at patreon.com/dumdumdice. Thanks to them, and a little bit of thanks to you.